Good evening, everybody. So, on a similar theme to yesterday's episode, we are again going to be talking about the ADL. More specifically, Elon Musk is talking about planning on suing the ADL and is also widely criticizing the ADL. And I think this is a wonderful thing. I think this is a great thing. And I think we should all cross our fingers that Elon Musk does sue the ADL. Elon Musk wins. They go for the whole $22 billion. And then the ADL goes bankrupt and stops existing. Do I think this is going to happen? No, I think this probably isn't going to happen. But what I do think is that this does have a very good chance of making people a lot more aware of how evil the ADL is and how terrible the ADL is. So the ADL has always been terrible. It's been terrible since day one. Why it was founded was, so I believe his name was Leo Frank. This person raped a little white girl. He raped a little white girl, and the ADL was founded to get him off the hook. The ADL was founded to let him go easy and to defend this person who raped a little white girl. It's been that bad since the beginning, and it hasn't gotten any better. The ADL is a terrible organization and a deeply anti-white racist organization. But Elon Musk is suing it for giving Twitter a bad name and making it lose funding. The ADO is widely responsible for this. What the ADO did is the people who run the ADO have close connections and a very certain similarity with a lot of CEOs of these giant international multi-billion-dollar companies and a lot of their stockholders as well. So they go to them, and since they look out for their own, once ADL told them, stop doing advertisements on Twitter, or X, as certain people refer to it now, they did, since they are looking out for their own. So they stopped doing advertisements there. And I do think ADL is widely to blame for the fact that Twitter is losing so much money. So, while, again, I said this earlier, I don't think that Elon Musk is going to win this or the ADL will go bankrupt. But what I do think is going to happen is a lot of people become more aware of this. For example, I think this will expose a lot of issues surrounding this issue. Why does this organization, this globalist-run organization, have more power than the richest man in the world? Why does it have more power and influence than the richest man in the world? Well, that starts to get the gears going in the head of power structures in the world, or more specifically in America. And I really liked Elon Musk's recent tweet. I can't remember the exact wording, so I'm going to have to paraphrase this to an extent. But he said something along the lines of, the ADL's big outbursts are largely to blame for all this anti-Semitism. The ADL's outbursts are making people anti-Semitic, is the gist of it. And this was met with, excuse me. This was met with backlash on a large scale. There were all these people, a lot of globalists, who were complaining, oh, this is terrible, you can't say this. And the real reason behind that is because they want to make sure you think that anti-Semitism, it's impossible for Jews to be responsible for anti-Semitism. That's where they're going with this. Maybe I don't know, what do you think? Should I paraphrase this with, in Minecraft, they need to make sure that people don't think Jews can be responsible for real world anti-Semitism. I understand that this is somewhat definitely not PC, but I think this is an important thing to say. So, a lot of people understand this with a lot of minorities. For example, a lot of people might say, oh, well, why do people associate Black people with crime? Well, even though Black people only are 12% of the population, they're responsible for over 50% of the crime rate. So, we can sort of see why some people will coordinate sorry, they'll make a similarity between Black people and criminals because of Black people's behavior. A lot of people think that. Or why, or you might ask someone, why do some people associate Muslims or Arabs with terrorism? And they'll respond, oh, it's because of 9/11. It's because of all of this. So again, a lot of people think that uh, a lot of the racism against Arabs or Muslims uh, is the cause of the way some Arabs have behaved themselves. Um, and this is true for almost all minorities except Jews. Jews are quite unique in this sense, and I don't think we should ever think of Jews as just another minority because they're not just another minority. They're different to all other minority groups in the sense that we need to and we need to receive them as such. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Why do some people associate Black people with crime? Because Black people commit a lot of crime. Why do some people associate Arabs with terrorism? Because some Arabs have committed some serious acts of terrorism historically. Why are people anti Semitic? I don't know. I have no idea. Because it is extremely un PC and extremely I guess you could say taboo in our modern culture to say that Jews or in any way whatsoever, even certain Jews in any way whatsoever, can be held responsible for anti-Semitism. We can never say that. We always have to say it's white people's fault, or in the case of Kanye West, it's Black people's fault for being anti-Semitic, and it can never be because of something Jews did. This goes back to that famous quote, uh, they cry out in pain as they strike you. And this is exactly what I'm thinking about. So they're crying out in pain, ADL, because of anti Semitism, but you're not allowed to say why there is so much anti Semitism. It's people oftentimes point to the fact that uh, Jews have been kicked out of over 100 countries, but no one ever says why. Why were they kicked out of 100 different countries? Well, that's because you're not allowed to talk about that because Jews are the most protected group in the world. Criticizing Jews is frowned upon in more than any other. So, white people, very easy target. White people are the only group you can make fun of and ridicule in public life or on TV or whatever in the media without being canceled, without having your life ruined, without getting fired. White people are the only group you can legally discriminate against. To be fair, Asians are sometimes lumped in with white people because, like white people, Asians are also smart. So sometimes they're put in. But as far as college applications, job applications, white people are the only group you can legally discriminate against. Again, Asians sometimes also. But even though it's a lot worse to criticize Black people than it is to criticize white people, it's perfectly okay to make white jokes, but it's a lot worse to make Black jokes. It's way worse to make Jewish jokes. It's way worse to criticize Jewish people. That's a lot less PC, and could get you in a lot more trouble than black people. Something I want to think about is, so you see people put up communist flags all the time, and you see people praise communism all the time. But if you put up a Nazi flag or you praise Nazism, you'll instantly get canceled. All throughout Europe and in Canada and in Australia, you go to prison if you praise Hitler or you praise Germany or you question the Holocaust. But in a lot of those countries, you won't go to prison if you praise communism, or you question the 100 million kill count statistic. But so the Holocaust killed 6 million Jews, and the biggest calculation I've ever seen is that Hitler killed 20 million people. 20 million people is a very high calculation. Most people think Hitler killed much less than 20 million people. So that's the highest one. But most people think that communism killed 100 million people. So that's 80 million more people, 5 times more people, but yet one is more hated than the other. Why is that? It's because one group is the one that the Nazis were particularly focused on, the group that it is least acceptable to criticize, the group that it's seen as most terrible, most disgusting, and most evil, and most bigoted to criticize. So Jews are a uniquely protected group. No other group is this way. You can smack talk black people and Asians, and you'll get less hate than that. You can smack talk white people, and you'll get even less hate than that. You get the least amount of hate. You'll probably be praised and celebrated and get a better career if you do. But Jews are the group that is most protected. And that's why this court case is important. It's probably not going to bankrupt ADL. It's probably not going to destroy ADL. It's probably not going to wipe ADL off the earth. I wish it would, but I don't think it will. But I think it will expose a lot of this stuff. They're going to, if this does go into court, they're going to be airing this court on TV. And Elon Musk is going to be making more comments like that. ADL, there will be more stuff exposing all of ADL's bad habits. There will be more stuff exposing the very obvious ties between the CEOs and the stockholders of these big companies that are cutting funding from Twitter by stop advertising, and then a very clear connection between the people who run ADL. It's everyone's going to be thinking when they watch the TV, they run everything, and this is going to be not people like you or I, the really based and red pilled people, but just normies. This whole plot to kick the ADL off Twitter, this is being entered by politicians and advocates that I consider quite cucked, like Steven Crowder or Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles or Dinesh D'Souza, people that are cucked, are getting in on this base and red pill thing. And I think that's going to be happening on a large scale. I think if Elon Musk actually does sue ADL, no matter the outcome, this is going to be comparable to stuff as far as how many people get base and red pilled, how many normies become base and red pilled. This is going to be comparable to Trump running for president, the Trump campaign, or the fact that the CDC was proved to be nothing but liars because of COVID. The CDC said we'll only be wearing masks for a month. The CDC made up all sorts of lies about the vaccines. It's going to be comparable to that stuff as far as how many people get based and red pilled if Elon Musk actually does sue the ADL, no matter the outcome, no matter whether ADL gets fined $22 billion or gets fined $1 billion or goes bankrupt or gets destroyed or nothing happens to it or it becomes better or it's not going to become better, but more powerful and more influential because of this. Okay, so those were my thoughts for today. I think I've expressed most of my thoughts on this issue so far. Maybe I might talk about it a little bit tomorrow. I'm not sure about that, though. But I think I'm going to call it good. I wanted to thank you for watching, and please have a wonderful day. Well, actually, just a second. Maybe I should read the comment. The Khazar Conversos, Zionists, can't have the world finding out the truth. They aren't the Jews in the Bible. They're not the chosen ones. I concur. Well, good night.